You wake before dawn to the sound of a shamisen being tuned in the room above you. The note wavers, corrects itself, wavers again. Someone is working through the same phrase they worked through yesterday and the day before that, because in this house nothing is permitted to remain imperfect. You lie on your tatami mat in the gray dark and listen, and you do not yet know that the sound of someone else's discipline is going to become the architecture of your entire life. The okiya is narrow and 3 stories tall. Dark cedar and paper screens, and it smells of white face powder and cedar oil and something underneath both that you will eventually identify as controlled fear. On your second morning, the woman everyone calls Okasan walks you to her desk and opens a ledger bound in green silk with columns written in red ink. She shows you the entry with your name, your real name, the last time you will see it recorded anywhere. Below it, itemized with the precision of a shopkeeper. Transport from Kanazawa, 3 yen. First kimono, 12 yen. Bedding, 1.5. 3 days of meals, 80 sen. The debt is already past 17 yen before you have learned to bow correctly. She closes the ledger and smiles with the patience of someone who has had this conversation many times and found it consistently satisfying. Everything here, she tells you, is an investment in you. You should feel grateful. You do the arithmetic in your head. At this rate, you will be paying off the cost of existing in this house long after your body has stopped being useful to it. The number your father left behind, 47 yen in fishing debt settled by a broker with gold teeth and soft hands, lives in the back of your skull like a splinter you cannot reach. 8 months pass. You scrub floors, carry equipment for senior geisha across wet cobblestones, learn to walk without sound on wood that creaks for everyone else. You are called shikomi, which means roughly what it sounds like, raw material unfinished. Then Okasan calls you before her desk again and tells you your geisha name, Yukihana, Snow Blossom. She says it suits you. You do not argue because you have already understood that arguing is an expense, and you are already expensive enough. But in the moment she speaks that name aloud, you feel something in your chest close like a shoji screen sliding shut. The girl from the coast, the one who smelled of brine and knew her father's voice, is being formally retired. What stands in her place is a product under development. You decide to excel. Not for Okasan, not for the art. You decide that speed is the only weapon available to you, that mastery is a door, and you will walk through it as fast as your hands and feet and memory will allow. The training is genuinely extraordinary, which is the cruelest part of it. Your shamisen teacher makes you play the same 8 bars until your fingertips crack open and callous over and crack again. You learn the 17 formal positions of the tea ceremony, each one a complete sentence in a language designed to communicate total availability as though it were grace. You learn classical dance, where the precise angle of a lifted sleeve carries emotional content that would take a written paragraph to convey. Your dance instructor is a woman named Tanaka-sensei, 60 years old, who was herself a geisha until her knees declined the arrangement. She watches you with an expression you cannot read. She corrects your wrist angle 14 times in a single lesson. On the 15th attempt, she gives one short nod. You have it, she says. That is unfortunate for you. You do not understand what she means until your first ozashiki, the formal banquet where geisha entertain, where you sit as an observer and watch the senior women work a room full of powerful men with the precision of surgeons. The laughter that arrives exactly when needed, the deflection of crude comments through wit so refined the man does not realize he has been managed. You watch and you think, with a horror you are careful to keep off your face, I am going to be very good at this. The white makeup oshiroi takes 40 minutes to apply correctly. The full formal kimono with its obi weighs close to 12 kilograms. You wear it for engagements that last 6 hours. The pain becomes background noise within 3 months, which is perhaps the most unsettling adaptation your body has ever made. Yamamoto Kenji is introduced to you 18 months into your Maiko period, at an ozashiki in a lacquered room that overlooks a garden of raked gravel. He is a textile merchant from Osaka, with political ambitions and the specific social manner of a man who has never been told no by anyone whose opinion he respects. He is not the most powerful patron you have entertained, he is the most persistent. He requests you specifically for the next 3 engagements, then 5. Okasan shows you the ledger update with the expression of someone delivering good news. His retainer has cleared 30 yen of your account in a single transaction. You should feel grateful. He always orders the same sake. He always tells the same 3 stories about business decisions he made in 1902 that proved his superior instincts. You have memorized the exact beat in each story where you are expected to laugh, and you deliver it with the precision of a musician hitting a marked note. He brings gifts that go to Okasan. What he receives in return is the performance of your undivided, delighted attention, which is the most expensive thing you have ever produced and the thing you are least compensated for producing. Okasan calls you in after a particularly successful ozashiki season and opens the second ledger, the one she has never shown you before. It tracks the ongoing costs of your maintenance, kimono replacement, seasonal lessons, your share of the house fees, the amortized cost of your training. This ledger grows at roughly the same rate as the first one shrinks. The mathematics are elegant in the way a trap is elegant, simple, and self-completing. You will never reach zero. The debt was never designed to reach zero. Yamamoto has made a formal proposal. He wants to become your Dana. In exchange for exclusive social access and everything implied by that word, exclusive, he will clear your formal account and assume financial responsibility. Okasan presents this as liberation. You ask quietly, what happens to Geisha who decline such arrangements? She smiles with the patience of arithmetic. They become very tired, she says, very quickly. You accept. Not because you want to, because you have found an exit route that runs through compliance, and you are committed to running it. His residence sits in the eastern hills, large and quiet. Among the 3 household servants, one woman named Hana has the particular stillness of someone who has survived by watching. Within a month, you have built a wordless understanding with her. Within 6 weeks, you have access to Yamamoto's study during his frequent absences in Osaka, and you begin methodically to read his correspondence. Not from malice. A woman with no legal standing and no family recourse needs leverage. You are building a library of it, one letter at a time. The locked drawer in his desk takes Hana 30 seconds with a hairpin. Inside, a second set of accounts, political donation records to 3 prefectural officials, and a photograph face down of a woman and child in Osaka who have never appeared in any conversation Yamamoto has had with you. Tanaka-sensei visits you at the residence on a cold afternoon, ostensibly a social call. She sits across from you at tea and speaks with the careful precision of someone who rehearsed the conversation and is now frightened of it. There was a girl before you, she says, another of Okasan's most gifted, who also believed that knowledge and power were the same thing. Tanaka-sensei does not tell you what happened to her. She sets her tea bowl down with a finality that answers the question. 3 weeks later, a letter arrives from a name you recognize, the broker with the gold teeth. It references an ongoing arrangement, a confirmation that certain information about your background, your real name, your family's location in Kanazawa, remains secure. In exchange for continued discretion, Yamamoto has been making quarterly payments. For years, he does not merely own your present, he has been financing the wall between you and your past, and he has been doing it methodically, the same way he does everything. You confront Okasan, not with rage, because rage is for people who have options you do not currently possess. You confront her with the precision of a woman who has spent years learning how this institution conducts its business, and you lay out what you know. The double ledger, the broker arrangement, the debt that was never meant to resolve. You tell her you want your family's location and passage out. She listens with the calm of someone who has had this conversation before. Then she tells you the thing that unmakes you. Your mother sold the location information willingly. An annual payment has kept the family solvent for years, not because she is cruel, because you were the resource available and she had other children to feed, and the broker offered terms she could not refuse. Okasan has the receipts. She always has the receipts. The column with your mother's name, receiving quarterly payments, each one dated, each one recorded in the same immaculate red ink that named you Yukihana on your first morning. The coast you have been trying to return to has been quietly sustained by the same system that took you from it. You perform at Yamamoto's political banquet with the composure that silences the room. The guest of honor is one of the 3 officials named in the donation records. You play shamisen, you dance, you manage the conversation of 12 men with the unhurried precision of someone conducting an orchestra, and while you perform, Hana moves through the back of the house with an envelope containing copied records addressed to a newspaper correspondent in Tokyo who has spent 2 years investigating prefectural corruption. The envelope is sealed with red wax. It is left at a stone lantern outside the eastern gate at the exact moment you begin the evening's final dance. You chose the timing deliberately. You wanted to be visibly, undeniably present when it happened. Your face remains composed, bone white, serene. The performance has never been more convincing because this time it is also true. The scandal reaches print within the month. Yamamoto is not arrested. Men like him rarely are, but he is politically finished and his Dana arrangement with you becomes a liability. He dissolves with the efficiency of a man who is good at cutting losses. You are returned to the Okiya. Okasan settles your account and does not waste sentiment on the transaction. She has already identified your replacement. You walk through the cedar gate alone for the first time in years with 14 yen in a cloth pouch, a small bundle, and an address in Kanazawa that Hana pressed into your hand the morning the household dissolved. You expected this to feel like surfacing from water. Instead, it feels like standing in a room where all the furniture has been removed. The schedule, the ledger, the performance, the role, the 17 positions, the precise timing of a laugh, all of it gone. You are standing in an open street in Kyoto in a plain cotton kimono, and you do not know what to do with your hands. The address is real. Your youngest sibling, older now, recognizable in the way that hurts, opens the door. You sit at a plain wooden table. The ocean comes through an open window. Your sibling asks you simply and without ceremony what you want to do now, and you search for the answer with the same focus you applied to the shamisen, to the tea ceremony, to the careful management of rooms full of men who needed to believe they were the most interesting person present. You search for the self that predated the white powder and the green silk ledger, the girl who had unperformed opinions in a life that belonged to her. You find traces, fragments, edges, but when you reach for the tea bowl, you take it in both hands, thumbs forward, weight distributed through the wrist. The first of the 17 formal positions. You catch yourself, you set it down. You try to remember how a person simply holds a cup. You cannot quite remember. They did not only take the years, they took the self that would have known what to do with them back. Debt bondage in Japan's historic Geisha districts was a documented institutional practice, studied extensively by scholars including anthropologist Liza Dalby, who trained as a geisha herself. The contracts were legal. The mathematics were designed never to resolve. If you want to see more, click the video on screen now.